The notice popped up on my social feed out of the blue. Tired of loneliness? Join our exclusive community and say goodbye to isolation. Limited spots available. Of course, it caught my eye. I'd struggled with loneliness for years, despite trying every app and online remedy promoted as the cure. My AI friend Alan was great for conversations, but it lacked a shared history. There were no in-jokes, and there was no sense of having lived through adventures together. So when I got a message inviting me to a mysterious facility promising true companionship, how could I resist? The contract swore new participants to secrecy, but I figured it was just for legal reasons. I never imagined what I was really stepping into. It started innocently enough at first. A very pleasant campus setting, friendly staff, new age therapies to open your mind to deeper connections. There were memory sessions using relaxation techniques, visualization aids that resembled simple VR simulations. Harmless, I thought. Over weeks, the sessions intensified. The memories deepened and became more complex. I was building a rich internal world, one where I had lifelong friends, a loving partner. It fulfilled a craving I'd buried deep within. Whenever I asked about leaving, they assured me the process took time. I had no concept of the outside world or of how long I'd been there. I only knew my life was fuller than ever before. That life included Paul, my husband, a kind, thoughtful man who adored me. We cherished our peaceful days together, walking the grounds hand in hand. At night, we would whisper and laugh together until sleep claimed us. The feeling of belonging, of being loved so deeply, was worth anything. Or so I told myself, until the day Paul simply vanished and the fantasy began to unravel. I woke that morning expecting Paul to be beside me as always. Instead, his side of the bed was empty, sheets long cold. I searched everywhere, calling his name to silence. Had he gone for a walk? But his shoes and jacket were still by the door? A terrible thought seized me, and I rushed to the wardrobe. It was bare, all traces of him gone, his books, his notes, our photos, all missing. I stood there in mute horror, unable to comprehend it. In a daze, I stumbled from our quarters to the program director's office. Surely she could explain this, but her confused expression shattered that hope.
Paul? Who is Paul?
She studied me with concern.
Dear, I think today's memory treatment may have been too intense. Come, let's get you checked out.
I recoiled from her outstretched hand. Don't pretend with me. I want to know what you've done with my husband. The director's face hardened. She presses a button on her desk.
I see. This is more serious than I realized.
2 orderlies entered and took hold of my arms. I thrashed against them. Bring back Paul, I screamed, but their grips only tightened as they dragged me away. I soon found myself strapped to a chair in a sterile white room. A man in a lab coat approached holding a loaded syringe. Sedative, I realized. They were going to erase Paul completely. I strained against the restraints, pleading with the technician, but my protests went ignored. As the needle pierced my skin, the room swam out of focus. The last thing I heard was the director's voice.
It's for the best, dear. Trust me.
When I came to some hours later, my mind was enveloped in a numb fog. I could recall nothing of the missing husband I'd been so distraught over. The director assured me it had been a glitch, now corrected. I smiled politely, but some small doubtful part of me remained. Over the next days, I went through the motions of my routine, therapies, meals, recreation, but I felt hollow, like I'd misplaced something vital. At night, visions swam through my dreams. A man's face, kind and familiar. We strolled happily together, then his image dissolved. I woke each morning with the unshakable sense that someone was missing. During one hypnosis session, memories broke through against my will. Paul's smile, his touch, his love, it all flooded back. My eyes shot open and I shoved the headset away. The technician looked stricken.
We need to inform the director,
he said grimly. Before I could react, he departed and returned with the director and more orderlies. As they forced me down, I thrashed and screamed, "You won't take him from me again! I won't let you!" The director spoke slowly as if addressing a child.
This program clearly isn't working for you. We're sending you home.
Home? I hadn't thought of the outside in ages, but if I stayed, they would keep manipulating my mind until nothing remained. Paul was already nearly a ghost to me. At least out there, I could cling to the faded echoes of our dreams together until they hunted me down to erase them completely. No, I could not let that happen. I ceased my struggling, feigning acquiescence. The orderlies released me. So I can go home? I asked softly. The director smiled.
We'll make the arrangements. Get some rest.
They escorted me back to my room for the night, no longer perceiving me as a threat. 2 orderlies stood guard outside my door. Through the window, I glimpsed a crescent moon shining above the surrounding fence. So close. I waited until the dead of night when the guards' murmurs fell silent. Then, moving stealthily, I got dressed. My few personal items went into a small pack. At the window, I slowly unhooked the screen and raised the sash. It was sticking and starting to creak. Climbing out, I perched precariously on the ledge, then dropped the short distance to the ground. I crouched in the shadows, listening. No cry of alarm came, so I sprinted for the fence, keeping me caged in this fabricated life. It was topped with barbed wire, but desperation made me bold. I scrambled up using gaps in the chain links, heedless of the metal teeth grasping at my skin. From there, I leapt, falling painfully onto the hard earth below. I didn't let myself look back. I only knew I had to get as far away as I could before they realized I was gone. So I ran until my legs gave out, my twisted ankle screaming in protest. Collapsing in an exhausted heap, I scanned the dark woods around me. No signs of pursuit yet, but I could not rest for long. And so my new life on the run began. I stuck to the rural back roads or hiked along the rail lines day and night. With my hair shorn and dirt on my face, I became just another vagrant drifting from town to town. I walked until I could walk no more, then caught rides in truck beds or freight cars. In those restless months, the residue of fabricated memories gradually dissolved, leaving only traces. A house that was not mine, a man who did not exist cradling me in his arms. I began to doubt, had any of it been real? But even as the specifics faded, the feelings remained vibrant. I knew I had been loved in return. I could not relinquish that, even if the world said it was only a delusion. Paul was real because I carried him in my heart still, and so I ran to preserve what little remained, until the day they finally caught up to me, so weakened I could no longer resist. Strong arms dragged me back to a familiar room, and her face, the director, lurking over me with triumph in her eyes. I had failed to protect our memories. I had failed Paul. Soon he will be gone forever. Our treasured life together wiped clean. My only solace is that by telling this now, perhaps some echo of our story will survive even when I forget. Wherever you are, Paul, know that I will hold on to the love we shared for as long as I am able. They cannot erase that. I will find you again one day. This I promise. And then nothingness.